So, here's a continuation of my selling spree. After selling that i3 750 Ti PC for £120 and my old laptop for £80, we now have enough money to build a full system. It's getting them for cheap that'll be the real issue. Facebook Marketplace has loads of terrible listings, but there are those blue moon listings which come and go within the day, sometimes even the hour. I've been hella lucky. My first purchase was this motherboard combo, an i5-4460 on a Gigabyte H81 motherboard, so it's Haswell, with a Cooler Master Hyper 212 cooler with a Be Quiet fan, and get this, 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance, all of it for £70. And okay, it's on. Oh wait, I forgot this thing. Hey! Around the same time, there was this listing for a GTX 1063 GB for £90, which was too expensive for me, but I guess so did everyone else too, because several days later, it was still up, but it dropped down to £75, and I swooped in. Despite my efforts for an even lower price, I got it for £75. Also, this listing didn't show the actual card, just a picture from the internet, and you should be careful. These are strangers you're dealing with. Either they're lazy or are trying to scam you by giving you a 1050 instead. So what you do is ask for photos or learn what you're expecting to buy looks like. Or use this to your advantage. Okay, it works. That's good. Compared to my best card, this Sapphire RX 574 GB, the 1060 is a slightly stronger card, but it's bogged down in some games due to its 3 gigs of VRAM, and well, it'll only get worse with newer titles, so I'll keep my 570. However, money's getting tight. Too tight. And so we need to sell my Optiplex 7010. If you didn't know, this was my main workstation, and it was a stuttery mess. I decided to keep the i5-3470 and 8GB of RAM in it, swapping it with an i3-3220 and 4GB. Market price for this would be around £50, so I listed for £60 and waited. And waited. Oh Jesus Christ, we might as well get something else. Power supplies had risen up in price online, including used ones, but a listing for a Corsair VS650 popped up at a decent price. The catch was that one of the PCIe pins was slightly melted. Worrying stuff. But I bet on it and got it for £25 on the condition of not bothering the seller if it melts the computer. Even though the guy stress tested the VS650 with no issues, I decided to do it again for good measure. We have an i5-3470 and this R7-260X, which draw around the same power as our planned build. This survived overnight without blowing up. Yeah. Okay, so it's been a few days, like literally a few days, trying to sell this Optiplex 7010, and I swear it's been pretty difficult. But luckily someone's interested in it, and they said, pick up tomorrow. I said no, I'll deliver it to you literally within the hour, because I want to make, I just want to get this done as soon as possible so I could get a case and a few fans and actually build this whole computer. Just like that, nice and quick. Finally, we can now buy the rest of the stuff. A 500GB hard drive for £10, a 120GB PNY SSD for $20, and deciding to keep the 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance, swapping it with 8GB of Patriot Viper. The last thing we need is a case. I was on the fence about this throughout my buying spree because I ran into this cheap beauty, a Xigmatek Scorpio. Tempered glass front, clear acrylic side panel, power supply shroud, and is, well, it's compact. It's awesome. The only downside were no included fans. So I managed to find some 120mm red LED fans for cheap. Why red? Well, why not red? I refuse to throw in rainbow puke in a build that's telling me it wants to be red. I've seen too many of them in the marketplace and it's rather distasteful. Anyways, let's get to building this thing. Alright, let's see if this works. Oh my god, no freaking way. Okay, so this doesn't have an LED, need to sort that out. But otherwise, wow. You know what? Looks cool. I like it. So, I have a few things to say about the building process. For one, the Xigmatek Scorpio has an almost identical chassis to the EG-MN25 I built earlier, with the addition of actual drive bays as well as that front panel. This means that there isn't much space at all for non-modular power supplies, so managing cables will be a bit of a struggle. And as you might notice, there doesn't seem to be anywhere for them front fans to get fresh air. I'll show you where. Just a 5mm space at the bottom, barely enough to get your pinky through. The reviews on YouTube don't exactly have thermals as the central point of their conversation, which is expected with something so cheap. So I ran a simple test, nothing special. On a torture load of Prime 95 and Thermark on an ambient temperature of 26 degrees Celsius, rather toasty, the figures are actually worrying. The i5 has hit 61 degrees Celsius delta T over ambient, while the GTX 1060 has hit its thermal limit of 56, meaning it's throttling. Just by removing the side panel, they drop down to 45 and 48 respectively, which on the GPU side is the difference between a card that's working at its fullest or not. Now, I know ramping up these parts to 100% isn't representative of real-life workloads, but I genuinely hope these don't affect gameplay that much. And at this point of editing this video, I wish I had given time in doing a few more tests, like removing the front panel, rearranging the fan configuration, or even a few games to see the impact. Nonetheless, seeing those figures makes me cautious of buying the Xigmatek Scorpio for a future build, but I wouldn't mind revisiting this case, as well as the EGM-N25, to see how frame rates are affected in place of clean aesthetics. In the end, I sold this PC for £300, a healthy profit, all while being cheaper than those 1050 Ti PCs listed alongside mine. Oh wow, it's crazy. And I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned a few things. This is the Budding Engineer, see you real soon.